Hello and welcome back to the channel for a bit of a different video today. You are looking at a time lapse of a ride that I have just built a few minutes ago in Planet Coaster 2, and I'm going to be attempting to build one of the best roller coasters I've ever built. Detailed, fun, all that stuff. And I'm going to be attempting to build it. So we've gone for the Mack trains. It is a multi-launch. I have built. Recently I went to Germany and I went on Taron at Phantasialand and many other roller coasters at Phantasialand and Europa Park. And I went on Taron, and this ride is mainly inspired by Taron. So first launch, I think I went for about 45 miles an hour in the end. I went over an airtime hill, as you can see. And just before we get too far into the video, what do you think about this series? Like, how long would you like the videos to be? And yeah, at the end of the video, please tell me your thoughts in the comments of this video. So yeah, I went for about 50 miles an hour, and then I saw that the nausea was a bit high and all the turns are a bit quick and whatever. But yeah, this was mainly inspired by Taron, so you can see like lots of turns and twists, and there was quite a bit of trial and error. Well, not actually that much, because I'm actually quite, good at coaster layouts. In my opinion, I don't know if my coaster layouts are actually realistic or not, but that's up for you to decide. But as you can see, I went underground because Taron, it's got like all these different like layers. I'm pretty sure its second launch is actually the deepest in the whole Taron layout. So yeah, I'm just digging this out so that I can actually, have an idea of what I'm actually building and, how I've actually built it. So yeah, I wanted this ride to be like family friend, well, in between the family thrill and thrill level, because the first half is very much family, like kiddie nearly, not quite kiddie, but definitely family. And the second half, it's got an inversion, and it's quite intense, and it's got a lot of airtime. So yeah, I don't know what you'd call this, but yeah, we're about to go into the second launch. It actually took quite a while for me to discover, for me to actually get the right angle to align it with the second launch, because obviously I don't build my rides on angle snap, because I find it's not, you don't have as much like playability, I want to say. Not playability, you don't have as much like customizable, like, because with angle snap I usually have it on 11.5 degrees per snap, I think it was, and I just find for some speeds, even like 11 degree turns is a bit too tight, so I usually don't use it. But yeah, we've just gone for the second launch. I did a rolling launch this time. At the last one, it was you stopped before it. I had some issues with the banking here, because you could either not bank it at all on this top hat, or you could go straight to 90 degrees. And if you do go straight to 90 degrees, it is like 0.1 degree off of, the track limits being exceeded. So whenever you smooth it, the whole idea is that it's going to change like the track shape to make it smoother. So you have to be quite a few degrees away from the track limits to actually be exceeded. Because when I tried this and I tried to smooth it, it said all track limits exceeded, but I ended up being able to just change it with some tools. I do a twisted drop at the down there, and I was going to add some brakes, and then I was looking at adding something, what do you call it, the thing that stops you, I was thinking of adding a to pause you at the top. But as you've seen, I didn't do that, and instead I just went right down through a turn into an outer bank, which then turned into, would you guys say a corkscrew or zero-G roll? Zero-G roll going downwards. That's the one inversion on this ride. With Taron, it's not got any inversions, and I think for there being no inversions, like, you'd think it would just be not like the same turn after turn. Oh, and here's actually where you saw me trying to fix the thing. See, now I can smooth it. But with Taron, you'd think that it'd just be like the same turn after turn after turn. But it's really not. Like, there's a lot of like different types of turns. There's a lot of airtime. They're really good without there actually being any inversions and sort of outer banks, because there's not actually an outer bank on Taron from what I remember. Maybe a sort of like outer bank sort of airtime hill, but no like major like outer banks. So they must have like got quite creative, especially with it being dug or like built with different levels of height. So I wanted to try and figure out where the pathing was going to go, and I really struggled, and then I discovered this would be the entrance, not to the queue, but to the area, because this isn't actually a theme park, this is just a one roller coaster series. I'm probably going to put this on the Steam Workshop after it's completed, assuming I actually have the motivation to complete it, and it's not just today, me being like, oh, let's try something, and then the next day, I don't. If I do continue the series, I'm going to put it on the Steam Workshop if I figure out how to. But yeah, you just saw me placing down some pathway and placing down some more as well. And I didn't actually want to go into the full-on like detailed theming for the ride yet, because I was experimenting what I think would fit. And at this point, I was just like, oh, well, I can always delete it later, you know, if I don't like it. And I actually turned out to like it first try. I did change the path texture though from brick, because I was originally going to go for like a steampunk sort of like theme, and then I decided maybe, you know, I've never done steampunk before, especially for a ride where I'm supposed to be like doing something like very good, one of my best rides ever, what I'm hoping it will be. So far I'm really liking it. I like the layout I built and everything like that. But you know, I didn't want to I wanted to challenge myself to make it actually good, but I don't want to try something new, as then it wouldn't be what I was expecting. So I decided after to change it from brick, as you'll see very soon, I think. Just in the middle of this sort of half helix, I decided to add a plaza. I don't think anything's going to be there, probably some benches I'll do, or maybe just, you know, something to look at while the ride's actually going around. But yeah, like I was saying, with like all this fencing, at this point when building, I didn't know whether I was going to delete it or what, or, you know, decide I liked it. And in the end I did decide I liked it and I did keep it, but I did change the path colour to cobblestone, as I've explained. And yeah, the theme, I don't have an obvious theme in mind right now, other than you might be going through this sort of like old sort of, you know, worn away, like these wooden houses, but they're covered in like all this moss and overgrown, and all the wood's just, all the screws are coming out and it's all falling apart. That's what I'm thinking now, because as you're seeing in a minute, well, in fact, that's actually the red rock I was going to add for the steampunk, but then I changed my mind. Just about here, I was thinking, hang on a minute, the only buildings I'm going to be able to put should be made of brick, because that's the only like suitable red coloured sort of wall. So yeah, I changed it, and I added some tropical rocks. Honestly, I don't know why they're called tropical, because they don't even seem tropical, they're just black rocks pretty much. So I decided to add those, and then I didn't know like whether to keep it just rock or whether to add bushes. In the end I did add some sort of bushes in, as you can see me putting in there, and this was for my like understanding of what I wanted the theme to be like. So as you can see, I actually, you know, discovered that I actually liked that and that I was going to keep it. So yeah, that's the main theme I'm imagining in my head now, is that it's going to be, you know, rocky, overgrown, sort of, not haunted, but overgrown, like old, creepy style maybe, like villages. Not the whole way through the ride. The ride's mainly going to be going through rocks and stuff. There's not actually going to be like massive obvious theme, but you know, it was a bit like Taran, with all like the wood, the lanterns that I'm thinking, and just the fact that it's a multi-launch roller coaster like Taran. But yeah, going around on the final turn now, I wasn't actually thinking this was going to be the final turn, but I found it aligned quite perfectly with the brake run, which was unexpected. So I felt like, oh well, you know, it's kind of just meant to be then, isn't it? So I did that, and I think that you're about to go for a POV. In fact, no, that's later down the video. I was sorting all the block sections out, how often I wanted the train to be dispatched and all the complicated stuff like that before I think I did a bit more theming at the end, just finishing off the fencing and whatever. When you pause at the beginning, as shown, you should be able to see just here, the end of the train did stick out, like past the launch when it was still turning, so I had to add a catwalk further past there, because I was very happy with this. This is where I'm changing the path to cobblestone. I did really like the red, and I still think I might prefer the red as for looks, but when I want the theme, cobblestone is just better, and I do like cobblestone. I did prefer the red, but that's because I had a different idea of what the ride was going to be themed to and everything in mind. And the track is green, moss colour. That was a guess, and I like it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but you know, so far I'm keeping it. And yeah, I'm just adding a lot more rocks to this as well, because yeah, like I've said about 50 times, I wanted it to be rocky. Sort of like there's some parts of the ride where it's almost hanging over a cliff, like that beginning launch there is like on the edge of like a very steep downcline, is that what you say? Oh, I don't know. Trench. It's next to a trench and you can just look down. It's kind of for the anticipation and whatever. As you've just left the station, you know, you're kind of regretting going on the ride and you're looking at what's about to come and it builds up the fear and everything like that. And yeah, I don't actually like that. Well, I do like that feeling when I'm on a ride, but I mean, like, I'm nervous and I don't like nervous, so it's in the middle for me. I like it in the end because then I go on it again and I'm not scared and it just looks really cool and, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I think, let me know in the comments what you think of this so far. For me, I really like these trees, by the way. Poplar, small poplar trees. I actually like them because they're quite shiny and bright green, and oh, it's nice and warm, which it's not in the UK. So, that's nice. And I am about to end the video. I will show you a POV. Here we go.